Well, I am so excited to have my guest here with us, and this is Ungie Davila. And Ungie and I have known each other for a number of years, and you are so multi-talented in many areas. And today I'd like to really just have you share with all of us, your path, what you've learned. You said earlier, you said, well, I've grown up. But from
Yes.
photography to your magazine, you have multi skills. So give us like a little biography, if you will.
Well, I think it was almost 9 or 10 years ago that we first met, if you can believe it. And I had actually found Luis online just searching alternative medicine, looking at different things that were coming up for that because I have type 1 diabetes and I just wasn't really happy with any of the specialists I was seeing. And I wanted to sort of investigate other spiritual and holistic avenues. So that's what originally brought me to your door. And then it's just been an amazing ride ever since. So many things opened up from that I never would have expected. It was almost like God just put me there where I was supposed to be as my next step in my spiritual growth and just in my growth as a human. So what started out as being a journey for health ended up being a new path in my life as a spiritual person, learning that I'm an empath, getting in touch with my abilities as a healer, as an intuitive, and just it's just crazy how many different things came out of that one Google search.
You're bringing me back a ways. I had, I remember when you first came in, yes, but I didn't realize it was from a Google search. And look at what you've done with it. When I first met you, you had this amazing magazine that you would put together, and the graphic work in that magazine and your photography and all the energy that you put, it was just beautifully done, Ungie.
Thank
It
you.
is beautiful. It's beautiful. And what happened with that? I know that you were working on getting that out there bigger.
Well, so when I first started seeing you, so it was right after college, and that's around the time I started the magazine. It was called La Loca Magazine. Started as a blog, then I decided to start publishing it in a hard copy form. Um, Mind you, that was in the era when nobody was publishing anything hard copy. Uh, but so I started doing that, and it was around the same time that I started working with you and learning about things like clearing energy blocks and soul block ties and integrations and geotran and just all of the different things that go into being successful, because it's not just about one avenue or one pathway. In order to have success with your health, you have to have success with your creative being and your spiritual being, and all of these other bodies that you don't necessarily see all have to work together in order for you to be able to accomplish the goal you set out to accomplish, which I had maybe suspected but never really understood until we started working together. And in the years since, just over and over and over again, seeing that not just with myself, but with your clients, with people that I've helped with some of the tools you've taught me, is just how important all of the other parts of your life are to your health and your success. It's not just eating right, and it's not just, waking up and doing your morning yoga. It's also about speaking your truth through your art if you're an artist, or embracing your spiritual side, or just whatever. For me, I'm an artist, so it always comes back to the creativity and to the speaking and to the being truthful to who I am. But everyone has that in their own way. It might not be through writing or through photography, but they have it in their own way. And so many of us put that on the back burner and then wonder why our lives aren't successful, wonder why we get sick. And we're really just choking our own selves. And so I think one of the biggest things you teach us, first and foremost, is to get out of our own way so that we can really peel. That first layer is us. It's just getting out of our own way, opening up to realizing what else we can do and how we've set ourselves back, and just taking that plunge into being vulnerable, being a kid again in a lot of ways, and saying, okay, I'm ready to learn something new, and it might be scary, but here we go.
So give us an example of when you did get out of your own way, or a place where maybe you struggled, and it kind of turned a corner for you. What happened to, what happened in that situation? Can you think back of when something like that happened for
Well,
you?
sure. I mean, I think as an artist, I'm constantly in my own way because I doubt everything that I do. And the soul box ties technique that you teach is really big on removing um, some of those things that are holding you back. So, say I wanted to get my magazine into a national distribution, and I didn't know how. I knew it was possible, but hadn't the slightest idea. And we did an integration together, and on my own I did tons of soul box ties techniques, just peeling back those blocks and layers wherever they may be, in order to just kind of allow the channel for the universe to send me what it needs to send me, getting the rocks out of the dam so that that water could flow, that abundance flow could come to me, is how it felt. And sure enough, after one of the integrations that we did, not a week later, I remember this distinctly because my mom pointed it out. She's like, Louise had just did that integration on you, and that was your goal in the integration, was to get the magazine out there bigger. And somebody approached me to get it into Barnes and Nobles across the Southwest, and that was a huge turning point. And then it was one of those things of getting out of my own way, because then I had all these other pressures and deadlines, and somebody else was sort of dictating what I had to do. And so that was just one of those things where then I had to conform to a different sort of way of going about things and let my ego go to the side and try something different.
Well, kudos to you for doing that. Not everybody recognizes that in the moment, and decides, hey, I'm going to need to do this to make this project move further.
Mm-hmm.
And you did do that, and you're conscious of it. And so, if you had a tip for our audience about how to be conscious of those times when we do need to sort of let go and let God, I guess. What is there a trigger in your own body or something you could share with us that would help us know, hey, I need to let go?
I think it's knowing yourself, but also there's that feeling you get when your intuition tells you something is wrong and that it's not the way to go.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's just being nervous because you don't know if you're going to be able to accomplish the task put in front of you. And sometimes, if you're not careful, those two feelings might get crisscrossed. But, just being really clear with what your heart is telling you to do and not your fear factors. That for me is when I know, okay, this is the right path and this is a challenge, but it's not something that's negative. It's just the next step.
Got it.
Yeah,
Got it.
that
Great.
makes sense.
Yeah, it totally makes sense. Great advice. And as an empath, how do you sort of stay in your lane? How do you stay on track? And not let everything outside kind of
That
how to filter in. I think we
oh,
all have maybe a different way of doing that. You
I
know,
think every empath is probably different, but I mean that's definitely a struggle of everyone I know that has empathic tendencies, is just trying to figure out what is other things affecting you and what is your own truth, because you're kind of like a sponge going around, and if you don't have time to just take a step back and be alone, for me, I like to spend time with my garden, or especially with my animals, and it's in those moments where I fill the sponge back up with my own life force and sort of pushes out whatever I've been collecting. um, but it's not, I mean, I think it's a lifelong struggle. As a kid, not knowing that I was an empath and having emotions that were just all over the map because I was taking in, other people's stuff, and my parents didn't know how to deal with me. If people had known about empaths back then, I think that it would have been a whole different journey. So I like to talk to parents a lot about empathic children, because I think if more people were aware of empathic tendencies in children, that kids would have a lot more of a healthy childhood. A lot of those depressions and anxieties and just intense emotions at least would have more of a spiritual root to it that could be addressed. That you're not crazy, you're just feeling everything 110%. So,
Yes, yes. Wow, that was very well put. I just actually went to a conference where we talked about that.
yeah.
Highly sensitive people and our sensitive children and teenagers,
Hmm.
and how to honor them. And there's actually more books out there now and more information than there ever was. And I'm older than you, so when I was growing up, nobody knew anything
Yeah.
anything like that, and I didn't even know that I had that label.
Yeah, me either. It was
You
just,
know?
you're so sensitive. You're so sensitive. And there's a ranching community, and you didn't cry. So I was crying for like 3 generations of people who showed no emotion all the time. It was exhausting. And as a kid, you're just like, I don't know why I'm crying. I'm just crying and I can't stop. And I think that's alarming for people that don't get it. And luckily I get it. So with my stepdaughters and with my fiance, he is extremely empathic. So we're able to realize what's going on and help the little ones, and not just, shame them or make them feel bad about the intensity of their emotions, because it's not
Right.
their fault, and it's not a comfortable space to be in when you're feeling that level of junk that's not even your own junk.
So not even your own junk. Absolutely, absolutely. Well, that's awesome. So you're doing a really beautiful job then, not just with, your own emotions and how you've learned over the years to handle that and use your creativity and tap those into creativity, but also with your stepdaughters and teaching them right now. So what a gift you are to them. Yeah.
Well, they're the gift. They're the real gift. I'm just on the receiving end of that. That's how I feel.
That's really profound. That's really neat. Yeah, it's really neat. Well, when I think about how much you've helped me, so I also want to help everybody see that, we're here together, and there's a collective consciousness between like you and I and us and all of you out there,
Mhm.
and we're all really one. And so we create a dance between us. We give and receive, and Angie's been such a gift for me in my business too. You've helped me with my events and with the photography and the videos and everything that we've created and the social media. And as a creative person, gosh, on a scale of 1 to 100, you're like 115. I mean, in terms of creativity. I mean, like, oh my gosh, you have the most creativity of anyone I've ever met, and the ability to tap into. You use your intuition to tap into that, don't you?
Yeah, I try. I really try to honor that. It's hard sometimes because you're taught that you need to be logical about things.
Mhm.
But I make a conscious effort during the day to listen to the intuition, because when I don't, terrible things happen. I trip and fall, or I end up, just when you, I probably shouldn't take this road, but it's the faster road, so I'm going to do it anyway. And then you end up something happening. That's like classic me when I don't listen to my intuition.
You don't listen.
And that's the same thing with art or creativity, especially with when I do my photography. If I try to control it too much and set out, I have an overall vision, but if I like, oh my God, we don't have, this prop or whatever, then everything just goes awry. But if I just let it happen organically and just sort of channel the creativity, nothing ever goes wrong. It's always just completely seamless. So I think that's a good example of how I use my intuition when I'm doing art. It's really just letting myself be a channel for creator to create.
Wonderfully, wonderfully said. Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. So again, it's getting out of our own way, isn't it?
It really is.
And allowing.
Yeah,
It's an allowing, and things flow better. Things flow better when we can do that.
absolutely.
Yeah, but you've seen me have the opposite effect too on you and everyone around me, right? Because
Uh-huh.
I mean, I know that I can get, kind of type A, and definitely in a place where I'm really sort of pushing. Um,
Yeah.
that doesn't work, and so when I relax and let go,
Hmm.
is when things do flow.
Absolutely. And we're actually, our birthdays are one day apart. So we're so super similar like that. I get real like manic, and I need everything to be just exactly so. And I stress everybody out. And then I stress myself out. And then I just have to just let go and realize like I can't micromanage every single detail. It's no fun, and nothing is really creative. And I don't know why the pendulum swings like that for me, but it does.
I think it does for everybody. I think it's a constant learning and an honoring and an awareness of being in that flow.
Yeah.
Being in that flow. And I don't think we can, as humans, I'm not really sure we can do it 100% of the time, but we strive to.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Exactly.
we
Yeah. Well
strive
put.
to. So we strive to kind of get back there. Yeah. So with your amazing creativity and intuition, you have accomplished so many things. In your young years too. Everything from the magazine to your amazing business. So tell us, give us a tip, and maybe for the entrepreneurs out there, what are a couple tips or suggestions that you have for creative entrepreneurs to be able to continue to succeed, or what have been some seeds for success for you? What's helped you succeed?
Well, as an artist, you really just, for me, I have to constantly have a million irons in the fire because not every one of them is going to take off. So I just try to chase as many opportunities as possible, learn as many skills as possible so that I can rely on different things that are marketable. But it's also just if I'm not passionate about something, a project or an idea, and it doesn't go anywhere. I have to have that drive and that life force and that excitement pushing it. And if I don't have that, then nothing happens. And that's kind of why the magazine ended. It just sort of came to the end, and it started feeling more like a pressure and a job than a creative outlet. And so I realized it's time to try something different.
Hmm.
And so that's my path as an artist. I know everybody's a little bit different, but the practicality of it is that you've just got to really put yourself out there in as many ways as possible and see what sticks.
Okay, and I can see a creative mind we need to do that,
Yeah.
right? Need to do that. We're always creating. With that creativity though, how do you stay focused on one passionate idea long enough to make it stick? So I think that's also a real challenge for a lot of the entrepreneurs that I know.
Well, for me, it's the competitiveness, the challenge. I have a really hard time stopping anything before I see it through. So whether that's just like yard work or creating a business, I will become like just fixated and obsessive about it until I feel like it's where it needs to be. And then the problem is continuing from there because then I'm ready for the next challenge and the next project. So that's where I have a hard time with, popcorning different things all the time, and just staying focused on one thing past the point of like, okay, I think we're like at a successful point. Let's continue this through.
Hmm.
That's kind of where I start losing my interest in something. So that's maybe something that we should work on with. With I'm sure there's some sort of block there or soul tie situation that's keeping me from being more dedicated for the long run. But I don't know.
Yeah, I was going to ask because I actually not only I see that with all of us. So I see that in myself too, Ungie, and with a lot of the business professionals and entrepreneurs that I work with who are creative
Mm-hmm.
ideas. And the next new idea comes over here and now they want to go that way. And
Yeah.
so sometimes it's hard, it's hard to stay focused on that. And, maybe there are some tools out there that we can pull from the brain system to work on that. But I know I have to work on that all the time myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
It's just there's so many exciting things out there that you just want to try everything. I think one thing that does help is if I try to, whatever I'm excited about next, if I can incorporate that into the project I'm already doing to take that to a higher level, that helps.
Right.
Definitely helps.
Makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. And then I know for all of you out there, Angie and I have known each other for about 9 years, and I want to thank you here too for all of your help with the growth of Brain Soul Success and the growth of this business. And as my social media person, we're pretty connected, and it's fun to see your creativity blossom in that direction too, and everything that you're doing there. And you do have a lot of different like hands in the different pots, don't you?
Yeah, I do. And I mean, it's been amazing working with you. It's been so awesome watching you build your brand and really get out. Because I feel like got to know you at the tail end of sort of like your last phase of, treating a lot of people and seeing a lot of clients to kind of segueing into being more of a teacher, having more of a teacher role. And it's just been really inspirational to see you do that and to learn from you as you learned. So it's been a really neat process to be a part of and watching you do that. And it's such important work. I think it's so much more valuable for where you're at in your life right now to be a teacher, because there's so much knowledge you have to give, and then that knowledge can just go so much farther than just seeing a client and treating a client. Now you have people all over the country and in Canada that are treating and teaching, and it's just really incredible, actually, when you think about it, how much you've done in the last 10 years with getting that out there. And you have that incredible determination, and you just refuse to like take no for an answer. I think we're a lot alike that way, and I totally get it, and I think it's awesome. And not everybody can do that, but you have that special gift to keep going until it gets done. And so good. Good on you, Louise.
I couldn't, what I couldn't do without you, so I couldn't do without a team,
Yeah.
So it is a team. And likewise, I love watching you blossom and grow your business and all that you do with your photography and your creativity. Again, you're the most creative person I've ever met on the planet. I mean,
my gosh.
I'm so grateful to just help other people just know you here.
Yeah.
So tell us how we can kind of get in touch with you too.
Well, my big, long, complicated name is my website. So it's ungiebadavila.com, UNGELBAHDAVILA.com. Or you Davila Photography on Instagram and Facebook.
Awesome. And we'll post that for everybody here too. And I just want to thank you for sharing with our audience here, all your gifts and tips and being here today with us. And we just want to say to everybody, have an awesome day, everyone. Enjoy, stay true to yourself.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's been great. It's been great. Oh, I just love you. Mwah. Have a great day, everyone.